All right, so we're back with the PedalPod pedalboard. All right, so we've gone ahead and we've pulled out our PedalPods, hooked them all together. So I'm going to walk you through how we set this thing up. So the first thing I want to show you guys is just some of the configurations that you guys can make. So this is a just a basic configuration. So your gas pedal is going to go up here in the upper right corner, which is what they recommend, and I can certainly see why. It just kind of makes sense for power and everything like that. And then from here, you can run into this pedal, or however you want to run it, and then you just go around. I've got this one set up in 2 different loops. I like to run wet dry, so I've got my overdrives in loop 1, and then I've got these in loop 2, and then these are both in both loops. One of the reasons for that is, for those of you familiar with these M5 and M9s and things like that, they have everything from delay to modulation to distortion to filters and reverbs. So I want that to be able to go into both depending on what I'm using. I'm also going to run an external volume pedal, which I have right here. So just some of the basics. So you have these right here. You're going to make sure, you can see in the front, all your openings are plugged with those. There's also ones on the side and on the back. And then if you have a bigger board and you want to put a handle, this is the handle I showed you guys earlier. So what I've done is there's specific holes on here drilled. Make sure you follow those. So this is I'm gonna end up mounting that in the back over here, so I can lift up the whole thing. You can also mount it to the side, but you've got to make sure that you follow the left side and right side, and you put that in the right holes. You can also do 2 panels, however you want, depending on obviously how big your board is, or how easy you want it to be to transport. There's also cases for these. You can go to their website, mypedalpods.com, and see all the different things that they have. You can even buy extra risers and cables and all that. So what you're going to do, let me get a box that has one because I've used a bunch of these up already. So we'll show you more once we get into this. But so you have one of these double pieces. Yeah, there we go. In the light, you can see that. And then here's a single. So the single is basically your cap for your ends, and then this interconnects. So this actually goes in between here and goes in between here. So it's connected on all 3 sides. So we'll show you that more once we get into it. So let's go ahead and talk about the layout a little bit. So that's the hardest thing, and the first thing you want to figure out is how you want your pedals laid out, where they're accessible, how you want your signal flow to go. So make sure you guys read this book. It's actually really good. I'm very impressed with the quality of this book. It's not going to give you every single configuration, but it's going to show you some common ones, and it's going to show you what screws to use. So this is going to come with 3 different size screws that you can see here. You want to make sure you use the right screw depending on your configuration. I've got this one set up just for show with a double risers. So each one of these pods comes with a riser. That's approximately 1 inch, 3/4 of an inch, I guess, probably. And then if you have a pedal that you need to reach your foot switches and you don't want to step on your other pedals, you can add an extra riser. And then in that case, you're just going to use this longer screw, which I believe is a 2.5 inch screw. And this 1 3/4 or whatever it is, you would use with a single riser. And then if you don't have a riser, like I took the riser out of these front ones, so that way it's got a nice flow. And you could even put a volume pedal on here. I'm going to run my volume pedal off to the side. That's just how I prefer it. So I'm going to take loop 1 and 2, run it into that, and then go into the amp too, so I can mute everything with my volume pedal and you know, still have my overdrives on, and then I'm not losing, you know, that overdrive sound by killing the volume if I put the volume somewhere in between. And I'm sure a lot of you run your pedal boards like that. I always run my volume either near the end or in between my overdrives and everything else. That way I can still have that, you know, overdrive coming through, and I'm just lowering the overall volume. Okay, so back to this. One of the things that I really liked about this when I saw this on the Tone King's YouTube channel. So if you get a chance, go ahead, the Tone King on YouTube, and Jerry went ahead and went on there a couple weeks ago, and you know, they basically did a couple configurations, and you know, he talked about how this thing works. Very informative. It'll help you out a lot when you go to set this thing up, for sure. Okay, so one of the things, back to what I was talking about, one of the things I like about it is obviously you can get as many of these PedalPods as you want. You can set this up in any configuration. You can have your signal flow go basically wherever you want. But one of the cool things I like about it is, if you notice, this one does not have a clear cover. So these clear covers are because there's LEDs in here, and we'll get into that a little bit more too. So you can color your pedals whatever color you want. This one is a blank one. It has no electronics. Hopefully you guys can see that down in here. There's nothing in here. There's no circuit board or anything in here. So if you're running a pedal like the M9, M5, that'll fit right on here. You can run your ins and outs right through there, right through this one. You're good to go. You can even run them in this one and then over to the other one. If you have a flashback, or if you have the new, the Flashback X4, or you have one of the TC Electronics new Hall of Fame reverb ×4 X4, you can go ahead and run one of those on here too. Fits right in here. Real nice. You've got your inputs and outputs that are directly above this little cutaway right here. So there's a slight cutaway just to fit all your cables in. You can also fit pedals like this one, this 805 overdrive that has your connections all the way up at the top. You can run a Blues Driver one. I have this one secured to the clear cover with one of these glue pads. So it's I know you can't really see it. It's clear, obviously. So these are available at Amazon. I will put the link below. There is 10 in each pack, and I'm trying to find the size here. So it's supposed to hold up to 5 pounds. So as long as you're not trying to pick up this pedal board with it, you should be fine. But I would say it's about I don't know, about 2.5 by maybe 3 inches or something. I'm sure it's listed on here somewhere, but let's not worry too much about that. But it's perfect size for your pedals. So if you can see on this one, it covers about 2/3 of the pedal on the bottom. Okay, so so once again, this thing is, you can configure it any way you want. You can add as many. Whoop, these are not secured on here. This is just for show for right now. So you can configure this however you want. You can add risers, take away risers. You can add pedals onto the side. You could even just do one row if all you have is an overdrive or two, and then your tuner or something, or overdrive delay, your tuner, depending on, you know, what kind of music you play. So let's get into, I'm going to take this off here just so it doesn't fall. So let's get into a little bit about how this thing works. So you plug in to this pedal right here called the gas pedal. You've got a loop 1 in, loop 2 in down here. I did a close-up on this earlier, and I'll try to put a picture up too. and you've got loop 1 and loop 2 out. So this would be out to your amp or whatever external stuff you want to run this into. If you're running a silent stage, you might run this into an amp simulator, whatever. You could even put an amp simulator or something on here. I just chose not to for this configuration because I want to have this many pedals. So I usually have my amp simulators and stuff on a separate board, and then I plug into that. That way, if I'm not using it, I can just use this regular. One of the cool things about this too is you also have a combined switch over here, and you have an on or off. So when you have it on, it combines these two loops, so you can just plug into loop 1, and then you're going through both loops. This gas pedal also has a buffer, and at the bottom, right now I can't pull it all the way out because it's actually connected. So at the bottom, you've got your buffer switches over here. It's going to be upside down for you guys. I don't know if you're going to be able to read it. You've also got an LED switch over here, so you can have this thing when you turned it on. You can have it whatever color LED you want. So back to, and this is clear around the edges, so it'll still light up. So let's go ahead and I guess we'll switch one of those. We got it on. If you have them all on, it's going to be on white. So let's just do that, so that way we'll know when we have power when we turn it on. So this thing is basically like this one. There's no other electronics in here. Everything is right here on this circuit board. So the other cool thing about this is this thing runs Cat 5 cables. So you're not connecting from this pedal to this pedal. You're just connecting them down on the bottom, and then Cat 5 cables run between all of these. That cuts down on noise big time. I mean, every major IT company or anything like that, even our inner monitor system runs off a Cat 5 cable. So we're running it all the way from the front of the church all the way to the back, going out to everybody's. We have the Allen and Heath ME1s, all Cat 5 cable. I mean, there's like almost no noise in that thing, and we've got at least, I think, 4 or 5 boxes we're running. Plus, we're running it, about 100 feet or so to the back of the auditorium. So that is cool. It's also got a USB 5-volt 1.5 amp. So if you're like me, some weeks I need my iPad for my music, especially if we're doing a new song we've never done before, and I don't want to get a brain fart. So you can plug that in here to keep it charged. If you use any kind of wireless system that you need to charge by USB, you can charge that here. You can have it plugged in, have the receiver going into loop 1, the transmitter in your guitar. So that is pretty cool. And once again, you've got your 2 loops, so you can run stereo, you can run wet dry, which is how I'm going to have this set up. So let's get into this a little bit further. So once again, like I said, the only thing coming out of here is a black and a white Cat 5 cable. So the black one is loop number 1, the whitish gray is loop number 2. So hopefully you guys can make all this out. So you can see we've got our gold, and these come with this kit, these interconnected cables. As a matter of fact, let's go through that right now. So inside this box, so in your box, which hopefully you guys watched the unboxing video, you get 1 pod, and then you get this box. So this has your double risers. It has 2 inside the box. You've got your power cable. I'm going to put this stuff up here so you can see it. So you've got your power cable to your pedal. You've got 2 1/4-inch patch cables, gold tipped. You've got your 2 Cat 5E cables. I believe those are 1 foot long. It also comes with 2 longer Cat 5 cables. I believe these are probably about 2 feet long. Let me check the book. It probably says right in here. Yep, so 2 foot. So you've got a 1 foot Cat 5 and then a 2-foot just in case you need it. And then velcro. So they're stuck together. So if you want to use velcro, you can go ahead and stick velcro on here. If not, if you want to use these glue pads, what I did is I went ahead and I've got an extra one of these so I can stick another pedal if I want to switch overdrives out. Say I want to put my soul food, my clone, I want to stick that in here. I can keep that on here, and then all I got to do is unplug this, one of these two, plug in the in and out and the power, screw this on, and I'm ready to go. And then in here is your screw package, which we talked about earlier. So you've got everything you need. And this comes with each one. So you don't have to buy any patch cables or anything. Matter of fact, we'll leave these out because we are going to hook up one of these pedals. Okay. So on to this. Let me go ahead and talk you through this and then we'll kind of zoom in. So inside here, you have your connector. You've got your voltage selector over here. All the way towards me is going to be 9 volts. All the way down is going to be 18. And then you've got 12 and 15 in between. So you can run, pretty much the gauntlet of, the myriad of pedals out there. So your Cat 5 cables are going to come in over on this side. Your 2/4 inch are going to plug in over here. We're in loop 1. You've got 2 switches over here for your loop 1 and 2. You can turn them on or bypass whichever loop you want to have it in. So right now I have this, like I said, these 2 pedals are in loop 1. So I have loop 1 on and then I have loop 2 in bypass. Then you've got your 2 Cat 5 out that go to the other box. You've also got your LED in here, which this one is set to nothing. So you've got dip switches in here. Let me get my glasses on. So we're going to run this in green since we're running the pedal. So all you do is flip that dip switch. So you've also got a high and low switch. So you can make these really bright. If you play on a really, really dark stage, I'm going to have them set on low. So once you've done that, you've plugged all those things in, and you can even run a stereo pedal, and you can run it into the other loop. You've got extra there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to bring the camera down over here, and then we're going to hook up this Blues driver pedal, and I'll show you what's going on inside here. Okay, so here we are nice and zoomed in. So you guys can see what one looks like when it's completed over here. As I mentioned before, you've got your 2 patch cables coming in. You've got your 2 loop 1 and loop 2, loop 1, loop 2 coming in. Let's move this out of the way. You've got your power hooked up right here, running to your pedal. Right here. And hold on, we've got a cable in front of our lens. There we go. So you've got your power running here. You've also got another power thing over here, which you should be able to see on this side right over here. So you can run it either one, or if you have like 2 small pedals or something, you can run it. And then over here you've got your voltage selector, and again right over here, I think that one's kind of blocking it. So you can see all the way up is going to be 9 volts, 12, 15, 18. This pedal can run at both, but we're going to run it at 9. I don't need the extra headroom. And then over here, let me get a pointer. So on this one, it's pretty clean. We've only got our loop 1 and loop 2 coming in. And once again, your voltage, which we just talked about. All your other circuitry is here. You've got your extra power adapter here. This is going to be your loop 1 and loop 2 out. So this is going to jump over to the next pedal board. So as you can see here, we've got our loop 1 and 2 here. That goes in between the pedals, comes out here. Here's your selector switch, whichever loop you want this thing in. So right now we've got this on pedal. So this is in loop 1, and then loop 2 is on bypass. So you just flip this little dip switch back and forth between between pedal and bypass. Here's your red, green, blue, and then you've got a low and high down here. Sorry, I think I'm kind of blocking it. I'm trying to get so red, green, blue, and then low and high. So you can turn it to whatever color you want, any combination of these, all 3 of them on, makes it white. You can do, I believe, purples, greens, obviously, yellow. So you've got quite a good selection of colors. So I think that covers everything in here. So let's go ahead and we'll pull this up. You can see here's our double thing over here. Hopefully you can see both of them. That connects the pedals. There's another one in the top over here, just above this. I'm not sure if that's out of camera shot, but we'll go ahead and let's go ahead and adjust this, and then you guys can see that. Yep. So right there, you've got your pedal connector up there, and then this is your a little riser piece, and then on top of that is just going to go this clear cover. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to hook this blues driver pedal into here. I'm going to show you guys how to do it, and I'm going to keep this same shot, so I'm going to be blocking you guys a little bit, but hopefully you'll be able to catch everything. And let me go ahead and move these pedals off of these other 2. So the best way to do this, and recommended in the book, is once you've put your pedals in here, you're going to take everything off. So we'll go ahead and do that in this first row. All right, so the first row is all uncovered now. We've got these 3 pedals here. Our other one is over here. That one's already pretty much hooked up. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and I'll show you how these glue pads work. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and fix this right here to this, but first we need to hook up our pedal, this top angled piece to our thing. So we take 4 of these 1-inch screws, go ahead, drop them in these slots right here. And then you simply just screw those in. And also in the book it cautions you against using any kind of power drill or anything like that. You don't want to do that. You might end up stripping this out. If you're going to do something crazy like that, make sure you set it on the lowest torque value. Okay, so those are the 1-inch screws. So each one of these screw packets comes with 2 sets. So you've got enough to run these in, and then also do your cover, which goes into different screw slots. All right, so that's fastened nice and tight. A little bit more. Okay. Now all we're going to do, flip our pedal over. It's got a little Velcro on it from previous. Let's get this in the shot. You just peel one side of this back, Go ahead and slap it on the back of your pedal. Center it as much as possible. Looks pretty good right there. Peel this off. Grab your clear riser. Make sure the gap is up at the top. Then you're going to go ahead. What I did is I went ahead and put this down, fed my cables inside first. Set the pedal on. Press and hold for a couple seconds. Then you're done. Then all you're going to do is take your extra set that's in your thing here. It's in your screw bag, and you're just going to go ahead and screw these right down into here. And then that pedal is secured. So we'll go ahead, we'll screw that down off camera. So let's move back over here, and then we're going to start wiring these up. As mentioned earlier, we've already got these set up. We've already got our color set up. We've already got the loop switches set, everything. We've already got our voltage set up to 9. Make sure you do that. Very important. You can ruin your pedal, ruin your day. So we're going to go ahead, take out this. This actually has a wire tie, so you can leave that on. And this is going to be another overdrive, so this is going to be in loop 1. So we hook up loop 1. We want to go ahead and put our piece right here in. Actually, you know what? We'll leave that out for now. So we'll set that up. I'm going to grab a white and a gray 1-foot Ethernet cable, as most people call them. So we'll go ahead and hook up loop 2. So all you're going to do, hook up loop 2. And then you're going to find your black Ethernet cable from inside your package. Pull that out. And they recommend in the book that you go ahead and run all these first, so you're not trying to do this later. And you just got to kind of bend these a little bit. And then they recommend you kind of take these, hook them there, and then bend them down. That's why you want to make sure you set everything first. And then you're going to kind of bend these down, pull this up a little bit so it's kind of in the center. And then you'll have plenty of room for everything on top. Okay, now we're going to hook up our power cable. So I'm going to go right over here. Then we simply grab our riser piece, or the angled piece. This is actually not a riser. Let's go ahead and put this angled piece in. So we're going to go ahead. You want to make sure nothing gets pinched. So everything's good to go there. You grab this. We've already got this blues driver one hooked up. So this is our input. This is our output. Hook up your power, and you're done. So that's how you hook up a pedal. Go to the next one. You're going to do the exact same thing. Open up your white box that has all your cables in it. Go ahead and pull your stuff out. Same thing. The only difference on this last one is that this one is a blank, so you can use your 2-foot cables, which I have right here. So for your output, you're going to run it back up. Let me bring this up just a little bit so you can see a little better. What my hand's blocking. Okay, so we need to run that through there and into this loop in, since we're going up and around and back this way. So we're going to go ahead and plug our, this is going to be the only difference that you're going to see with this is when these when you hit these last ones. So you're going to hit your loop 1, your loop 2, and then you're going to run this, and I suggest you wrap it around at least once inside this, the cavity of this blank one. Which is going to make it a little easier to run everything. And then you go ahead, plug that to your loop 2 in, and then your loop 1 in. All right, so when you get to your last pedal in the chain, you're going to have your 2 loops coming in from your other pedal. So you're going to go to in. Let me move this out of the way. Sorry, that's from the Cat 5 cables. You have these 2 that came in your kit. I believe that came in with the gas pedal. And then all you're going to do is plug that into the out. And what that's going to do is everything that's run before it that comes into here goes into the in. Then it's going to obviously run out to here through the circuitry. This adds in a couple extra cables, because you got to remember Cat 5 cable is not like a regular, it's not like regular cable. So you've got all these ins and outs right here. We're only using a few of them. So all this does is create another loop, and that loops it back through one of these other signal paths for both of your loops, and then that brings it right back out to here through the same cable. So everything's coming in through that Cat 5 cable. You hook these things, it shorts 2 of the plugs together, and then that brings it back to your gas pedal. So I thought that was pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, put everything together, and then show you what this thing looks like together. We'll put, you know what, let's go ahead and put the handle on since we're here. Go ahead and pull these 2 off. That's where we're going to put our handle. All we've got to do is pop these 2 out. Hopefully you guys can see all of this. Whoops. Hit the camera again. Okay, so we just pull these 2 out. One from each of these. Set that off to the side. Our handle, which we made sure we screwed it in to the right screws. All we're going to do, and like I said, is you can see on here, it's got, if you're going to do the side, it's got left side and right side. So if you want to do a side handle over here and a back handle, you could always do that. I actually have an extra handle that they sent me. But all you're going to do is pop this in, and the handle is spring loaded. You just push it over a little bit, pop that in like that, and then you can pull this handle out, and it tucks in kind of nicely. And then simply put these back on. And then your handle is there. You can carry this thing around. I said if you have a huge one, I would definitely suggest putting 2 handles. Okay, that is it for the handle. All right, so we're back. So this is the completed pedal board. This is what it would look like on a dimly lit stage. So you can see we've got all the colors in here. We've got purple, and that way you can see all your pedals on stage. So let me show you what it looks like with the lights on.
So bright.
So you can still see everything. You can still see the colors. I've got them on bright right now. All right, so all I've got to do is finish putting the 4 screws in on these. I wanted to do a quick check to make sure everything worked, which it does, so that's awesome. All right, before we end this video, I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts on a few things. One of the things I do like about this, obviously I mentioned before, it's modular. It uses Cat 5 cable, which is extremely quiet. You know, very noise free. I like the fact that you can just lay everything out, put everything together with these. I also like the fact that it comes with everything that you need. So the only time you would need anything is if you're running in stereo. Really like these patch cables. I like the fact that they're nice and tight, that they're nice and slim, and they fit perfectly inside here. I also like the fact how neat this looks. Everything, you know, especially with this pedal, if you got pedals that, you know, have the connections up at the top, which a lot of them do now, especially like all the I think all the Strymons do. So it's totally clean. You know, everything is tucked neat inside. I love the fact that it has the LEDs inside, and you don't have to have a separate LED or run a LED rope underneath your pedal board or something to get some lighting. I also like the fact that it has the USB charger over here, which is awesome, and the fact that you can change your LEDs. You can even change this LED. It's fairly lightweight. I like the fact that it's got the integrated handle back here that's spring loaded. It feels pretty rugged and heavy duty. This thing feels fairly light. I'm not going to lift it up by the handle because once again these aren't screwed in, but it's actually not that heavy especially compared to my old board, which is one of my old boards is made out of wood, and that thing weighs about 20 pounds by itself. I like the fact that you know, you can move the handle in any position you want. You have the combine switch over here. As far as gripes, I guess the only thing is it would be nice if there was a switch over here to shut this thing off. You only can unplug it. So you've got this here, and then you've got, you know, where it plugs into the wall, so you can unplug one of those. I think it would be much better to have a switch over here somewhere. Other than that, I mean, it went together fairly quickly with all the other ones doing all the velcro, running all the wires, cutting cables, making cables, measuring cables. I mean, I would spend pretty much like a full Saturday and sometimes more just rebuilding my board. So this thing, you know, with editing video and shooting video and all that stuff, still didn't take me but, you know, less than half a day. We're all very happy with this. I did play through it for just a few minutes just to make sure everything worked before, you know, before I turned the camera back on. But very, very impressed. Very quiet, very clean sounding, and it's definitely a keeper. So if you haven't checked these out, go check them out. Next time I play, I'm going to bring this board and I want to test it out in a live situation. And I have absolutely no doubt that this thing is going to perform awesome. This actually might end up becoming my primary board because I actually prefer analog pedals. Thanks again for watching. So, aloha for now.